Hello, hello. How y'all doing? Welcome in. Good to have everybody here. Um, I lost my notes. Too many screens up. This is very common for staff. There they are. Let's talk about what feels kind. And this this is a good topic because when we think about what feels kind, what often happens is that we confuse it with nice. What is nice? How do I be nice to myself? Which then ends up translating, and being nice is beautiful, but it ends up translating to how can I let myself off the hook so that I can turn away from uncomfortable emotion and not hold myself accountable to the behaviors that I'm following through on, and then I never change. And then I'm frustrated and my results aren't coming. And then I get like, is this even going to work? Does this even work? And we end up beating ourselves up, which is the opposite of kind or helpful. So when we talk about kindness, when it comes to ourselves, what we're really talking about here is boundaries. Kind is nice, but with boundaries. So we want to be nice to ourselves in a way that is nice to our current selves and our future selves, not just what feels nice in the moment. Because if we're always doing what feels nice in the moment, chances are we're living a pretty miserable life overall. That's really tough. We're doing things that are driven by instant gratification, by what we want and how we feel on our whims. They're usually emotionally driven and they're usually escapism driven. I want to escape how I'm currently feeling, whether that's just like, oh, there's food in my environment. That looks really good. I want to have some. And then as soon as I start telling myself, yeah, but I'm in this program, I'm trying to master my habits, hunger directed eating, blah, blah, blah. And then we have discomfort and something that could potentially be neutral or save for later or enjoy at a different time starts to be a problem for our brain to solve. So we want to talk about boundaries, and where we get things mixed up is we think that boundaries are rigid and something that we set for other people. We think they're about other people, and they're not. Boundaries are all about us. Now, they may involve other people. You may have to set boundaries as it relates to your interactions, relationships, and things like that with other people. Food pushers, for example, you may have to set a boundary where you just, it's like, okay, if you offer me food after I've already requested it, at some point, I'm just like, going to stop coming over for dinner because you're driving me nuts. And from now on, my boundary is we go hiking as friends. We don't go out to eat together because you just like, I just don't want to sit here and tell you no over and over again. Something like that, right? That there could be a boundary around, I just don't eat with this person anymore, or I just ignore their question or whatever, that kind of thing. But it still points back to you. What will you do about the circumstance? So it's not, you can't push food on me. It's, if you continue to push food on me, I will XYZ. So we are kind of familiar with setting boundaries with other people. We are kind of familiar with what that looks like, but how familiar are we with setting boundaries with ourselves? This is where it gets really sticky because we're not trying to be demanding. We're not trying to be rude. We're not trying to be critical. We're just trying to take a step back and go, what do I really want for me? What's important to me? Where do I keep tripping up? Where do I keep tripping and stumbling over my own 2 feet here? Where am I in my own way? And how do I set a boundary around these behaviors that feels kind? So if you end up grazing, snacking, picking, BLTing while you're cooking, or while you're cleaning up, or finishing your kids' plates of food, or grabbing a handful of this or that at the office, those kinds of things. If that's your thing, maybe it's every time you drive by a gas station or you have to fuel up, you go into the gas station and grab a bag of M&Ms or a snack of some kind, and that derails you. Whatever it is, we look at, these are my derailing habits and behaviors. These are the things that continue to trip me up. They're the things I complain about the most when it comes to my progress. And I need to say, what is my boundary around these things? So if it's snacking, grazing, picking, whatever, it's like, okay, you know what? I have a boundary around this. If I want a snack, fine. but I'm going to plate it and I'm going to eat it sitting with my ass in a chair with my eyes wide open. My boundary is that I don't eat out of an open bag of potato chips or cereal or trail mix or candy or whatever. I don't eat out of a big bowl. I don't eat out of a package. I eat on a plate. That's my boundary. I just create it for myself. That feels kind, because if we don't have a boundary around something like that, and that's our habit, is to BLT and pick and graze and snack, especially when we're frustrated, tired, overwhelmed, whatever, then you don't have any accountability about how much you're grabbing or how often you're grabbing. Your brain doesn't even register it. It feels like it's so little that it doesn't even count. Every now and then you might overdo it, but in general, it just adds up with very little payoff or pleasure. And it's just a habit that gets on your last damn nerve because it steps in the way of your progress and keeps you at accidental maintenance. And nobody wants to hang out in accidental maintenance. That's just not a cool place to be. So I know, right? It's like, I'm so sick of accidental maintenance. I hear you. I hear you. So we've got to figure out what is keeping me stuck in the same place, because it's usually the same behaviors and you need some boundaries around them. So a boundary probably wouldn't be, you can never have potato chips again, because that's stupid, if you like them. But a boundary might be like, I plate them. I just always plate them. And boundaries have to have consequences. So if you don't plate them, if you go and you grab a handful out of the bag, or you find yourself sitting on the TV, maybe you're sitting next to your partner, they're having chips and you're just like mindlessly munching with them, and you had set an intention to eat them seated, plated, undistracted, then you need a consequence. And that is not putting yourself in timeout. That is not like nose to the wall or anything stupid like that. But it might be the consequence of violating my own boundary is, if I do this, I'm going to fill out a self-coaching worksheet. That's my consequence. I'm going to drop into curiosity and figure out why. And I'm not going to let myself off the hook until I have done this, because it's important enough for me to overcome this that I'm willing to do the annoying thing, like fill out a self-coaching worksheet or journal or whatever, in order to figure it out, so that my brain can start associating this with, this is important to me, it's valuable to me, and it wants to put the brakes on it. Now, when we think about these boundaries, it's important to set the boundary. It's important to know why you're setting it and to have the consequence clearly in place, because when you do those kinds of things, where is that works, girl? If I know you work with Leslie one-on-one, but you also should have the masterful emails. So it's in your resources on the first page. The self-coaching worksheet. It's also in the files in the Facebook community, along with a video recorded that tells you exactly how to fill it out. And if you still can't find it, let me know and I will email it to you directly. But the reason we want these boundaries in place is so that we can start to create a speed bump in the road to our behavior, to slow us down long enough to be a decider, because sometimes you are going to make some exceptions, and I'll talk about that. But ultimately, putting these speed bumps in the way makes your boundaries hard to violate. So sometimes you will make exceptions, but it shouldn't be easy to make an exception. It shouldn't feel comfortable to make an exception. You really should like your reasons. So for example, if you have a boundary that you just eat at the table, you don't eat in the living room, it's not your thing, you don't eat while watching TV, you might make an exception if you go to the movie theater. It should feel different for you. It should be something that is just different. Or maybe your family has family pizza night and you're all watching a movie and sitting on the living room floor together. Like, that would feel like a good exception, unless every night is pizza night. And then it doesn't feel like an exception anymore. Now we're just bullshitting ourselves, right? Maybe you have a boundary around, it's like, okay, I'm really tired of feeling like I have to end every meal with a sweet thing. I feel like food is controlling me with the sweets. I feel like I can't stop eating until I've had my sweet. It's like, all right, well, I'm going to practice putting a pause between this behavior. It's like, if I'm gonna have a sweet thing at this meal, then I am going to have a boundary where I stop in the middle of my meal and say, okay, where am I at? Do I want to have my sweet thing now? Or do I want to finish this food that I already currently have? And if you decide to finish the food, because that's how much food, stomach space you have left over, cool. But then you're just like, but if I still want the sweet thing, I'm going to set a boundary in place where I give myself 10 minutes before I decide. That's just what I'm going to do. And if I find myself mindlessly going back to grab cookies and things like that, again, self-coaching worksheet, send your coach an email, do a journal prompt, do the worksheet where you're writing down your thoughts, your mealtime journaling, so you can discover why this thing has so much power over you, why this old habit has so much power over you and makes you feel like you're really missing out when you've had cookies already twice today or whatever, whatever it is. So we just want to look at what feels like a kindness to us. So I like to use pets, kids, things like that as examples because it's so much easier for us to make sense of it. Like when we're adults, we're like, I'm an adult, I can do whatever I want. Don't tell me what to do. And it activates our inner rebel like a petulant child. But if it actually was a petulant child or a pet or something like that, that was doing something destructive to their well-being, you would probably come in with a boundary. So let's say your child is out playing ball on the lawn and the ball goes out into the street. You would probably have a boundary for your child that you don't cross the sidewalk by yourself. If the ball goes out into the street, mom comes and gets it. I'm gonna go get the ball for you. So if the child goes and to run out in the street, the kindest thing that you can do is grab that kiddo and say, no, you're not gonna do that. You can get hit by a car, right? That would be being kind. It may not feel nice. That kid might think that you're an asshole and that you're mean and you won't let them go get their ball and like have all sorts of emotions and opinions about it. And I realize this is a very childish example, but so is the version of us that feels like we can't have everything we want. It also feels very childish. So you would set loving, kind boundaries around those things because you care about the well-being, the safety, the future, all of those things, right? And so when we think about what we're currently doing that gets in our way, the ways that we are tripping over our own 2 feet, the ways that we are struggling over and over and over again, we kind of have to put ourselves in the mindset of how would I help someone else that was struggling with this? What would I suggest? How would I tell them to follow through? If that was really hurting them, if it was really a struggle for them, how would I support them? And chances are, if your friend or loved one is going through something painful and difficult, you're probably not just going to be like, it's fine. Just do whatever you want. It's okay if you self-destruct. It's totally fine if you tell off your boss and scream in his face and get fired and like whatever. Like, it's cool. You wouldn't be that way. You'd be like, okay, what if you took a few deep breaths? What if you just didn't engage for a little while? What if you worked through your feet, got some therapy, got some support, went to HR, you would give some suggestions that were actually helpful to help them solve the problem instead of just like, yeah, do whatever your impulses say. And that's where we really want to come in and say, what is actually kind? Kind is nice, but with boundaries. We're not going to be critical of ourselves. We're not going to tell ourselves we're stupid. I know I've said like some of these suggestions are stupid in this call already, like 6 times. I'm like, don't do that. That's stupid. But that's just me being obnoxious and snarky, not unloving toward all of you. You know, I love you. We don't want to be unkind to ourselves. We don't want to be critical of ourselves, but we do want to be discerning and hold ourselves accountable so that we get what we want. Always remember, you are not accountable to your habit tracker. You're not accountable to this program. You're not accountable to the rules, the guidelines, the things written on paper. You are only accountable to yourself because there was something in you that said, I want to feel differently than I currently do. I want to start operating from a different place than I currently am. I want something to change in my life. I want something different. You're accountable to that version of you. The version of you that shows up on these calls, that is who you're accountable to, not me. I'm here to help you be accountable to you. I'm here to say like, hey, let me hold up this mirror. Let me ask you some questions so that throughout the week, because the coaching calls is not the program. That's not your transformation. Your transformation is the behaviors each and every day in between the coaching calls that makes the change. You're here to plug back in, to hit the refresh button, to energize yourself, to stay focused. But the real work, the program itself, is in your day-to-day decisions. So those are the things I'm going to invite you to look at. How can I, in the kindest possible way, set some loving boundaries around the areas that I struggle most? What is getting in my way right now? How do I need to address them? What can I stick with? What can I remember to do? Not just in this call, during this conversation, but during my day-to-day interactions. What are some ways that I can remind myself how I'm having my own back? Oh, sorry. I was like, whew, I got like a serious cramp all of a sudden. I was like, okay. Oh, all right. So let's do some coaching. Let's start thinking about these things. Does anybody have any struggles as it relates to boundaries with themselves? Anything that they want some help setting and working through? Yeah, go ahead, Karen.
Can I go? Because I have to go at like 1:15. So I'll stay on. So yeah, no, I don't know where to start really. So I thought about, we talked the other day, and I thought about what you were saying, and then I've been trying to live like not moment by moment, but that kind of. And then I worked out yesterday when I finished work. This is all kind of related to boundaries because some of that stuff was hitting home as well. That it's just so the receptionist's been away for like a month. She's back on Tuesday, and I've been doing her part of her job and my job, and I'm not getting my stuff done. There's the crux of it at work. And so now, like, I'm doing the best I can, and I know that, but it's not good enough. And I think that's where it's coming. I'm like, how? It's that talk about, oh, you've not got everything done, and blah, blah, blah. But you're like, but you're doing everything. You can't do any more than you work 5.5 hours a day. You can't do any more than what you're doing. So I think that's what's unraveling in my head. It's taken me so many weeks to work this out. It's so annoying. So that's annoying me. I hate the self-coaching worksheet. I just find it so annoying. It's because I think I need to do it more. I think I've filled out 2 in my entire, maybe. I know I've definitely done 1. I might have done another one somewhere along, but there's just such a barrier. I find them really difficult, and I can't even remember what's on it. It's been like probably 9 months since I've done one. Yeah. And yet my goal is I need to do this because it's going to help, but then there's a real doesn't want to. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't blame you. They suck. Nobody
They
wants to
do.
examine their shitty behavior. They just want to do it and then move on and say, like, I'm going to try better next time. But if you hear yourself saying, I'm going to do better next time about the same thing over and over and over and over again, then you don't have a plan on how to do better next time.
Yes, I know. And I know. I do know that.
Yeah.
But the resistance is still there. I kind of remember this. I think the first page is all right. It might be the second page. There's a couple of sticky questions on there, and I'm like,
yeah. I would rather you half-ass it than not do it at all.
oh, really? On. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Because if you half-ass it and send it to me, and I look at it and say, okay, maybe you fill out those questions and say, like, I don't really know how to answer this, or this feels too sticky, I'm stuck, or something,
Yeah.
then I'm going to be able to help you pull the answers out. I'm going to be able to coach you through it. And then eventually you're going to be able to answer those questions in a way that's helpful. But we can't just avoid the work we don't know how to do.
Okay. Yeah, I did print some off like last year, and as I say, I think I filled out 1. But what do you do? Okay. No, I think, yeah. And I think maybe I'm a bit scared about what will come up. Maybe I don't know how to answer them. It's that whole, like, it's still that whole, well, I was just talking about the work thing. It's like, if you can't do it really well, what's the point? Is that kind of like in my head still going on? So, okay. All right.
It's such a great question. If you can't do it really well, what's the point?
Yeah, I know it's not a good, it's a good question, but there's a lot in there, isn't there?
Well, there's a point. The point is that even if you can't do it really well, you're probably going to learn something. Even if you can't do it really well, you're still programming your brain to recognize that it's important to you to figure it out, that it's worth the effort to put your pen to paper and ask yourself some questions about this behavior. It's like, well, why bother? I can give you 20 reasons. Like, you should be able to answer that question. No more rhetorical questions from any of you. Like, if you're going to be like, why is this even worth it? Answer that fucking question. Answer it. Why bother? Because I'm tired of being in my own way. That's why
Yeah,
bother.
I know. It is. Yeah, I am so sick of it. I'm sitting here listening to you going, yeah, this is all relevant to me. I do need more boundaries and stuff like that. And I do need to do the worksheet. And I know that's going to help. But I'm just like, oh, it's just so much effort. It sounds really bad.
Well, it's just a lie. That's
That's
just a
just a lie.
lie.
That's what my brain's telling me. Oh, it's so much effort, so much energy. Have you got the energy to
Yeah. It's like, well, I have the energy to sit here and bullshit eat. So I guess I do. It'll take me
oh,
5 minutes. I got 5 minutes.
okay. That's a better way. There's a lot of like really weird stuff going on in my head. Not really weird, but just like that. The negativity that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks is definitely higher volume currently. I don't know, like why can't I just like the work thing? Why can't I just go, this you're doing what you can and just accept it? Why is there all this stuff in the back of my head going, you
Are there consequences to things that aren't getting done? Like, are people on your case or anything?
no, not really. Well, not really, no. There are deadlines and stuff, and I'm prioritizing the most important stuff. But I can only, like I said, I can only do what I can do, and I'm doing the best I can. And I
Mhm.
know that in my heart, I know that, but it's still like I'm still not getting my stuff done,
Yeah.
which I find frustrating. But yeah, how do I don't even know how to start with it. I don't know.
Well, you've already started with it. You've already said, but I'm doing the best I can and I'm prioritizing the most important things. Every single time your brain's like, you're not getting it all done. You're like, I actually am. I'm getting it all done. I'm getting everything done that I can by prioritizing the most important things. Anything that doesn't get done, it is because I literally do not have the time or support.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. It's like I can choose to stay late. I can choose to work overtime. I can choose to delegate or whatever, if that's within the realm of possibility, any of those things. But if not, then not. Then it's just like, listen, I have, like, I literally can't spend money that doesn't exist, right? You have a time budget. That's all you have is a time budget, period. If you can get done X amount of items in 5.5 hours, that's all you can do. And you just
Yeah.
have to keep telling yourself that until your brain stops trying to solve a problem that it can't solve. So remember, I always tell y'all, your brain is always trying to solve your problems for you. And oftentimes the way that it does that is through stupid ideas and self-criticism. Like, oh, you're sad, you should eat. As if that even makes any sense. It doesn't, right? It's like you're sad because you should be sad because something sad happened. You should feel it. But no, your brain's like, no, don't be sad. Here, snacks or whatever, right? And so if you stop making it a problem, then your brain is going to stop trying to solve it. So you just have to keep reminding yourself, actually, I'm doing all the work I'm available for. When your brain's like,
Yeah.
you're not getting it all done, you're like, I'm doing all the work I'm available for. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. And then eventually it'll get quieter, the noise. Yeah. I think the trouble is I'll tell myself that I'm doing everything and then I don't believe it and I should be doing better, but that's not, I just know that I can't. The logical brain knows I can't, but the stuff in my head tells me other things and I'm kind of listening to that a bit more, which yeah.
Yeah. And that's the other thing you can do is drop into curiosity and say, okay, could I actually be doing better? And if the answer is no, then that's when you bring that into your logical, you help your logical brain teach your subconscious the truth of the matter. It's like, listen, if your subconscious is nudging you and saying, you should be doing better, you should be doing more, you should this, you should that. It's like, okay, let me think about this. Can I do better? Can I do more? Am I capable within the realm of my own personal boundaries and values? Can I do more and better? Like I could work 14-hour days, but that's outside of the realm of my boundaries and values and the life I want to live. So could I? Sure. Am I going to? Not going to. So at that point, I'm like, am I really doing the best that I'm available for? Yes or no? And if the answer is yes, then it's like, when it comes up, it's like, actually, we talked about this. It's a no. We're just not going to sit here and indulge this conversation. And if the answer is yes, I could be doing better, then I make a plan to do a little bit better. I see what else I could do or reprioritize or, whatever. But I'm not just going to get stuck there. And that's what I want you to think about is how do I get unstuck by finishing the conversation instead of making that critical voice be something that you take to heart. Start listening to it and saying, what is it actually trying to tell me here? What if I didn't hear it in such a bitchy way? If I said it in a kinder way to myself, it's like, hey, you're just worried that things are going to pile up. You're just worried that things are going to go undone. It just means you care a lot about your job. It just means that you don't want to get stuck kicking things down the road that you're going to have to do later. That's what you're concerned about. So solve that problem and just say, hey, we'll get to it when we get to it. Or these things are not as important as I told myself they were, which is why I've deprioritized them, whatever.
Yeah, that actually helps a lot, actually. I know like 2 years ago we talked about me writing lists. So like about when I felt overwhelmed, and I still do that, and that has really helped me. But then when I don't get to finish the stuff on my list, but it's fine. At least I know what I've got, and it does help with the overwhelm. So that really helped me. Okay, yeah, no, you're right. There's more. It's more like, oh, yeah. What is that drama trying to tell me? It's just scared. Like I'm just scared about work piling up, or are they gonna give me a bollocking for not doing the work? Or, all of that kind of stuff, isn't it? Really?
Yep.
It's not. Yeah. Yeah, that's helped.
Yeah. And when you're
It's
making
just
your list, and you're kind of in that state of it's not getting done, blah, 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 you can always use the philosophy of do it, delegate it, delay it, or delete it.
okay.
So you look at your to-do list and it's like, okay, what is the most important? That goes on the do it list. Is there something that I can delegate? If so, that goes on the delegate list. Is there something that I can delay? Because it's just not that important, but it is important to get to eventually. And that goes on the delay list. And if I keep delaying it, then eventually I'm going to delete it because it's just not getting done. Like I'm not going to keep kicking the can down the road. It's just obviously not important. It's not urgent enough for me to give attention to. So I'm going to stop putting it on my list for now. It's just not going to get done. So delete.
Okay. All right. No, that's helpful. Thank you. I think that's good. Yeah, no, that's good. And I will do some more worksheets, I think, because just avoiding. But it could be the key, couldn't it? Like to everything, unpacking everything. And yet I am so resistant to it.
Well, it's been a long time since you've done one, so maybe it'll be better this time. Maybe you've created more skill set to fill it out with a little more usefulness.
Yeah. And then sometimes I think and I also think, is this actually going to help me? I remember filling out before going, is this really going to help? And I was like, why would they give this to you if it's not going to help? So
Right.
yeah, I think, yeah, around everything, I think, but it might just even just with the whole conversation we've just had, it might just calm my brain down a little bit. I do feel like I'm like this. And we talked about that tapping thing the other day, and I was like, yeah, that's sort of, I don't know if that helps me or not, but I've done it a few times, and I don't know, just keep trying and seeing.
Yeah, you just have to give it some time. A lot of
Yeah.
people think like this is going to make me not want to eat, and it can, but it's really about left, right, left, right, left, right, left brain, right brain, and that kind of helps process emotion. And so instead
Yeah.
of continuing to focus on the problem, it's really just kind of about like, okay, I'm just going to sit here in my body for a little while. I don't have to react or respond. I'm just going to hang out here. I don't have to do anything about this. Like, I don't have to decide. It's not urgent when it's like food urges or whatever you're going through.
Yeah.
Um, and it can just help ground you and pause you long enough to bring that logical brain on board to make decisions instead of deciding from a reactive place, from your subconscious demanding place, where it's like, okay, well, I'm going to do some butterfly taps before I decide whether or not I'm going to eat to a 7. Like, I know I've hit my 5. As soon as I hit a 5, I'm going to sit here and just check in with myself, ground my body, see if I can calm that vagus nerve a little bit. And it's like, okay, where am I at? See if I can just climb down the ladder a little bit.
Yeah. And I think that with practice, that will help for sure, because it's just giving you that space, isn't it? So I'll
Right.
keep doing that. So I've been doing that, what, 2 days? Just a couple of times, maybe 2 or 3 times I've done it.
Yeah, good.
But I just keep practicing that, and that's about it, really. And I'll do the more worksheets, send them across, and you'll be like, oh, here we go. But no, it'll be good, because you
Yeah.
never know what might come up.
Yep.
Okay, that's cool. All right. Thank you.
Yep. You bet. All right, Kim, where are we at? You're in a different environment today. I always see you at your computer. It's nice to see you off work and relaxing a little bit.
Yeah, because I have no more computer there because I had to go back to on site 5 days a week.
Ah,
Yeah, so it's been a whole new routine that I've had to adapt. Um, so I'm not eating enough at breakfast because I usually bring fruits, and I know it's not enough. And then lunch is fine. So then in the been not too bad in the for like having my dinner. I've tried to stop snacking at night because I had kind of started that a little bit. Not every day, but more than I wanted to. Um, so I get for me, it's just I'm just a lot of changes. So I'm kind of trying to wrap my head around that, and yeah, the accidental maintenance. I honestly thought though I was kind of being a little bit over dramatic. I'm like, oh my god, I gained weight, or like I was, and just before the call, because I haven't weighed myself in such a long, because I'm like, I just don't want to know the damage I've done. But then I'm like, let's just weigh myself because I was really curious, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't gain it. Like it's just maintenance. I'm like, okay, I need to stop reverting to like, oh my god, I just ruined everything. um so yeah, so I'm kind of just focusing on just new routine because I'm waking up so much earlier than I used to, and I used to take time to have breakfast at the table, and it was just nice because it was early, it's quiet and but now it's just too early for me to have breakfast before I leave, and it's so I just leave, and so I just have to find options, and I know what I'm gonna do. I just didn't have time to do it this week, but I just need to be better prepared to so all my meals are the same size type thing, and not go back to not eating breakfast or having like an apple or a few grapes, because that's what I've been doing this week. It's been apples or a few grapes. So yeah, and I do need to be kinder to myself because I am really, and it's so funny because I would never this, and I mentioned that before, but the stuff I tell myself, I would never ever tell anyone else. 'Cause,
Yeah.
but then I say it to myself, and I'm not being kind. I don't know why I'm so hard on myself. It's something I've always been like that. I don't know. Well, it's probably the perfectionist side of myself too, and just wanting to be the best. And then it seems like I have a lot of, I can handle a lot of stuff. But then when it comes to myself, my body, my relationship with food, it's like, since it affects only me, I'm not taking care of it, and I'm not. So I think that's the big of it, where I don't know if I'm still like, that's why I'm kind of like stuck right now, of just letting go of being so hard on myself, and stop telling me you need to be this way or that way, or, and just take a breath and just move forward, and stop being dramatic about everything, or putting intention to like food, because it's just food. And I'm like, why am I putting so much, like, it's just, I know what my sign is, like, just stop eating. Why are you being so dramatic about like, oh, I just want to have those few bites, that, like, who cares? But it's like, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's a good question to ask in a way that's not the way you're asking it.
Yeah.
In a way
I
that
know,
doesn't
yeah.
sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, who cares? Why do I care about these last two
Yeah.
bites? It's
Yeah.
literally the question Leslie asks all the time. What's in the last two
Yeah.
bites? Weren't in the first two. That's a
And
serious question, not a rhetorical one that just is like
no.
a duh, nothing. It's like, really ask yourself, what is in these two bites? What am I telling myself is in these two bites? Satisfaction, a little bit longer pleasure. I deserve it. It tastes so good. Like, figure out what the sentence is that you think lives in the last couple bites. Like, but like, does it turn you into a petulant 5-year-old? If so, you probably need some self-soothing. It's like, okay, it's going to be uncomfortable for 5 minutes, but as soon as you throw them away, you're going to forget about them. You're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
You also get to be
I
really proud of yourself.
yeah, I don't know why I've got this barrier. I don't know if it's, there's part of like, oh, but I don't want to waste it. But I'm like, but that's such a stupid excuse. Stupid word of the day. Um, or then it's just like, oh, it's good, two more. But I know it's not, I don't know. Yeah,
Do you really
it's
not want to
ridiculous.
waste it?
Yeah, I know sometimes I like catch myself and I'm like, okay, just trash it. Like, this week I did that. I'm like, no, 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 you're not eating the rest. You like did not calculate this. Like, I thought the bowl was smaller than it actually was, because I'm like, holy geez, there's way more than I thought. And I was at my desk at work. I'm eating, and I was gonna like, and I kind of like took one or two extra. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm not, and I could see, I'm like, there's way too much left. I'm not hungry. And I just, like, I have to talk to myself, like, who cares if you waste it? Like, whatever. Like, it's fine. It's, so I just put it in. When I got home, I just trashed it. And um but yeah, I was like, why am I, because I was kind of like going, and I'm like, no, you felt your sign, just stop. So I kind
Mhm.
of had to talk to myself. I'm like, okay, this is, yeah, this is
Yeah,
ridiculous. So I have to kind of, yeah, just be like, it's fine. It's just a few bites at the end of the day to waste. It's not like I'm wasting a whole meal here. Like, it's fine.
yeah,
So I just have to stop telling myself stories about those, because I know it's just that last few bites, but since I'm on weight loss, well, those few bites do make a difference in how it affects me and stuff. So I'm trying to plate what I need, but then if I miscalculate, then I just have to be like, it is what it is, just throw it. Like, same thing, I bought lunch today, and I'm like, no. So I made sure to like have a bite or two left, trash it. And I felt the sign, even if I was eating with someone, I was able to like, okay, I'm done. And I probably ate one more bite and I was like, stop doing that. Like, seriously. And then just trash the rest of the sandwich is easy. You leave the crust out. Some other
That's how
food
you
is a
know you
bit
don't
easier.
have, that's how you know that the wasting food thing is bullshit. Because
Yeah, I
you're
guess,
more
because
than
you're like,
happy to waste food that you don't like.
that's true. That's true. Oh, geez, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Anybody
Yeah.
who's more than happy to eat, you know, have a couple bites of something and be like, not eating that. I'm
Yeah.
throwing it away. Doesn't have a problem with wasting food. That's just what your brain
Yeah.
tells you to justify eating more. And you just need to finish the conversation and say, is that really the problem? Really? Do I really not want to waste it? Because let's think about this.
Yeah.
You're a pretty tidy person, I think. You seem to be,
Yeah.
right? If you had things in your house that you weren't using, they were taking up space and creating clutter, would you just keep them just because they're things to keep?
Yeah, I'm notorious to get rid of things I don't use after a few months. I do not keep anything at all. Like,
Would you
I
go
freak
and
out
rent a
people.
storage unit to fill it up with shit that you
Nope.
didn't use? Never,
Nope. I
never, right?
donate
Wouldn't
everything.
happen.
Yep. Nope.
Wouldn't happen.
Nope.
That is what you're asking your body to be. Food goes in as energy. It can't
Yeah.
use it. So it stores it for later, and later never comes. So
Oh,
it
that's a good.
becomes a storage unit that you never access.
Yeah, I never saw it that way because it's hilarious. Because in my people, yeah, people think it's funny how I don't keep anything. Like if I haven't used it in like a few, I'm like, anyone wants it? Because yeah, I hate having clutter and stuff. And oh, I never thought of it that way. Yeah.
Excess body fat is not a moral issue, but it is just excess. It's
Mhm.
just sitting there being stored for a rainy day in case you ever go into starvation, which is pretty unlikely to happen for in this modern world of McDonald's and gas stations. Like, we're fine.
Yeah.
We can always get more food at this point. Those of us who are privileged enough to be on this call and in coaching programs and things like that, are not experiencing true food scarcity. So
No.
there is no reason to fear the fact that we are not going to have food available to us, which means we are wasting food by eating it. It's wasted either way.
I never saw it that way. And now that you said it, I feel it's like a little haha moment for me. Like I never thought of it that way. So I need to remember that. Like when I want to like overeat a few more, but it's like think the way I think about everything that surrounds me. Because it's hilarious because people came in my office and they're like, oh my gosh, your office, it's so like tidy and clean and like, yeah, because then you see other people's offices with and I'm like, oh, but it's true. I never thought of that. Like it's so weird. It's so weird that I'm doing this to my body when I'm not, when I'm the total opposite with my surroundings, because my environment is very important about how I feel and how that's why like my office and my home was like I really had it where it was so I could be, it was just a nice environment so I could be calm, chill, work properly. And that's what I'm doing at my, oh, I never thought of it. And I'm doing like the total opposite to my own body.
Yeah. I mean, I've
I'm
had people
sorry,
argue
I'm
with
kind of
me that
having
there's
a,
like, but it's pleasurable at the moment, right? It doesn't feel that way because it's pleasurable in the moment, Steph. I get something out of it in the moment, but it's exactly the same thing. Like if you go out shopping for something, it's pleasurable in the moment to buy it. But if you're someone who's pretty tidy or you're limited on space, you're going to look at that thing and go, okay, this is really cute, but I'm going to have to find a place for it. And I don't have a place for it.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not worth it. The same thing like when you go to carnivals and fairs and like they give you all these prizes and mugs and like work events and conferences and they give you swag bags of shit you'll never use. Like all of those things, they're so hard to throw out because you don't want to waste it. but you also don't want to store it. There's an energetic cost to having things lying around.
Oh, I never saw it that way. Yeah, that's a really good point because yeah, I'm kind of like rethinking everything now. It's really given me another perspective of it's so strange that I've been doing this to my own body when yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Some
maybe
people
not
like the
strange,
phrase,
but
my body's not a trash can. I like my body's not a storage unit.
yeah. Yeah, because I know the trash can thing, but then I'm like, then said it a few times, and then I'm like, and my other thoughts crept in.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, yeah, it's so strange how, yeah, what I do to myself, but yeah, sorry, I kind of had a little aha moment here. Um, yeah,
Yeah. Good, Karen.
so strange. But yeah, well, I know I'll remember that because when you said it, I was like, where's she going with that? And I'm like,
What does she want to
I
know
feel,
about my life?
I feel seen. But
Well, I think we've had
but
conversations around you being
yeah,
tidy and things like that before, right?
yeah,
And getting rid of
yeah.
clothes really regularly and
Oh
things.
yeah,
That's why I knew this analogy
yes,
would
that's
probably
true.
land
That's
with
true.
you.
But yeah, it's funny. I never like made the connection with food also that I'm actually doing the total opposite with food, and it's yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'll remember that now. And you just said it, and I feel like it just there's something in me that just switched, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I felt that really deeply for some reason.
The other thing I just want you to consider is something that I picked up on when you were talking was that like you would never say these things to anyone else, but when it comes to you, like the whole overeating thing is like it only affects me. So I have a hard time being accountable when it only affects me. I don't think that's true. I don't think that it only affects you. I think when we aren't treating ourselves kind, when we're not taking good care of ourselves, when we're not showing up at our best, it affects everyone we're in contact with. I think that there is a cost to every relationship when you are showing up in a way that doesn't feel good to you. If in the back of your mind you keep thinking like, I need to lose weight, I'm so sick of doing this, blah, blah, blah. You're not thinking, I'm so connected to my partner. You're not thinking about all the other things, which is why we want food and this body stuff to be way in the background instead of in the foreground where you're constantly thinking and obsessing and analyzing, which is why we get away from the numbers, which is why we get away from the diets and the rules and all of these things, because we don't want it to take up our mental real estate, because there are more important, valuable things to think about in our lives than obsessing over 2 bites on the plate. So I just want you to consider, one, it does affect other people around you, even if you're not saying it out loud, because you're in your head about things instead of, having opportunities to connect or be present or relax or enjoy or be your best self. So that's one piece. But also, why aren't you worth it? Like, why wouldn't you care about showing up for yourself the most out of everyone? The most.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm so hard on myself.
I know we talked last week about how you said your parents never put really the pressure on you, that you just developed that. And there might be something to the fact that you got some reverse pressure where you got a lot of praise for doing really, really well. And it felt really loving and kind. And so you started putting pressure on yourself to do really well in all areas because that's what made you feel the best. That's what made you feel the most loved. And so even if your parents weren't like, oh, you suck, you got a bad grade or whatever, you might have been like, yeah, but it doesn't feel really good. But like when I brought home A's and you were really proud of me that one time, like it could be that one time that someone complimented you or commented on your hard work or commented on how you're such a good kid or something like that. And that you took on the identity. And so it created pressure to continue being that person. And that may not be it either. but
Well,
not every,
when you were saying that, I know my parents were pretty balanced because me and my sister are like very different and they always the same. Like it was always like I honestly lucked out with my parents, to be honest. I like feel like I hit the jackpot with my parents, but maybe my teachers when I was younger and I was not to like toot my own horn, but I was a smart kid. And so
Mhm.
maybe that came from like, oh, and you know, they give like prizes and sticker. So maybe I don't know, maybe it
Yeah.
comes from that. I never wondered where that came from. I just thought I'm just hard on myself because I want to do the best I can. And,
Young
but
brains internalize things and interpret them in very strange ways sometimes.
yeah,
You know, it doesn't have to be a negative thing that creates negativity in our
no,
lives,
yeah,
unfortunately, you know,
yeah,
so and everyone has an inner critic. We all develop an inner critic. We're always self-preserving beings. So anything that
yeah,
makes us feel loved, that makes us feel seen, that makes us feel cared for, whatever, we are going to want more of that. And anything that makes us feel bad and whatever, like we're going to want to avoid that. And so the inner critic is always there to point the finger and say, hey, you are either getting closer to love or further away. You either deserve it or you don't. And that's what it all boils down to. So when we're being really critical, the best thing we can do is look at that inner critic's voice and say, if you weren't being a jerk right now, what's the message I need to hear? What are you really trying to tell me? What do I stand to lose or gain by listening to you? If you could reframe it in a different ways, like instead of like, don't be stupid, you don't need these last two bites. Like, what's the real message here? It has nothing to do with being stupid. It's just like, hey, you've been working really hard. You've been working really hard. This is It's not worth it. Let's just throw them away.
yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, I need to just stop having that like stupid perfectionist mindset. Um, especially when it comes, yeah, when it comes to things that I don't need to put that much pressure on myself. I'm learning, luckily.
Yeah.
But you know, I am doing some stuff like differently and I know like this program actually impacted my life outside of just food too. And like with work, like I'm really good. I'm so much better now at setting boundaries. Now I need to set some for myself because I'm surprised at how well I was able to set boundaries with others. Like I've been really trying to put myself first and how I feel. And because I was more, you know, I never wanted to hurt people. So I would usually, if I didn't want to do something, I'm like, oh, but I don't have anyone. Like I go or just because I didn't want the person to feel bad or be alone or whatever. So I would like I'm would do that a lot, but now I'm really like, okay, I have to do things for me, and maybe it has to do with getting older and learning also, where you're kind of like, you know what, I've done this enough. I need so I need to set those boundaries now for myself also, and to just move forward because I've applied on a job. And usually I'd be like, oh my God, I'm always dreading those because I hate interviews and talking about myself and I'm not good at selling myself. And I wrote the thing and I'm like, you know what? Screw this. Like I've done this for like a long time, done so many jobs, like I know what I'm doing. And I was like throwing myself flowers and I was like really I'm like, okay, I need to stop being that like because you said something about like being in my own head or something. Like I am the kind of person who's in a room and I don't like talking and I'll just listen and I don't um but I'm like, no, in certain um moments I need to just put myself out there. And I think that's what I have to do for myself too, like advocate more for myself, but also when it comes to food and stuff, like I said, putting the boundaries and then realizing not a storage unit. And just, yeah, I just need to start whatever I'm doing outside for like work and whatnot. I need to do it now for myself, my
Yep.
body, my relationship with food, and really work on the inner also, not just the exterior.
Yep. Yep.
This is like therapy. I feel like I'm in a therapy session today for some reason.
I've heard that before, and we've also had quite a few therapists go through our programs that have felt very supported and been like, this is so in alignment with everything that we do. And,
And it's funny because I was like listening to the call the star. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna say. And now I feel like I just opened myself and just went through a therapy session. I don't think I felt like this after talking in such a long time.
Well, good. Good. That's a good thing. Now, you can just spend a little bit of time kind of sitting in it, thinking about how you can apply it throughout the week and, practice it. I bet if you spend a little bit of time with that and just take the few little ahas, instead of getting overwhelmed by everything that was said, it's like, let me just pull a few lines from this and say, this is what I'm taking from this coaching call this week. You'll start making some changes and some progress. One of the things is what you said earlier, that's just kind of a practical thing of you need to figure out a way to take a better breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've already had
fruit is
plans.
great. I
need
eat fruit for breakfast every morning, but not by itself.
No, and I know, and I miss it because I used to, before the program, I used to barely, I was never eating breakfast. That's the meal I would skip, and then, well, the evening would come, and so when I started the program, I would really enjoyed that time with taking a break from work, going downstairs, having my breakfast. So that was nice. But now, so I actually made a list of breakfasts and lunches that I can bring at work that's cold. So I've got like a list because I don't want to be ill prepared for, like, I don't want to eat an apple or grapes for next week. So I already know, like, I have a list of things, like I can bring this, do this. I have a variety of things because you kind of start, well, what am I gonna eat? There's nothing, like, but then I like found a bunch of stuff, so I'm gonna be fine I'm not worried. It's just this week was the first full week I was back, so it was just grabbing the apple and I'm like, oh, I didn't buy the stuff I needed. So now I know I made a list of things to buy, so I will be back to regular programming next week.
Good. Okay.
But yeah, I'll be fine with that. But thank you so much for this call. It's really,
you're very welcome.
Yeah, I'll re-listen to it because I don't want to, like, I'll write stuff down because I don't want to miss anything. But a lot of things you said really, it just felt different what you were saying and how I was receiving it. So thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Well, good. I'm happy that it was helpful. That's always my intention, is to show up and offer something useful. So I'm glad that that was a success today. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and weekend. Rest up.
Thank you.
And
You too.
let me know if you need anything.
Yes, perfect. We'll have a nice weekend. I hope Leslie's doing well. I know it's not the best during this time, so
I think she's okay, but she has been out of power. So even though she's evacuated and not like in the storm, it affects a lot of the state. And so I believe she's without power today. So she had to reschedule some of her one-on-one calls, and I took some, and
it's not
come here. So
not fun times, that's for sure. So I hope she's doing well.
Well, that's nice.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful week.
All right.
Okay. Bye.